Good morning everybody, this is Stephen Pugh of the Home Bible College. It's September the 29th and we're looking at 1 Thessalonians and chapter 2. My password today is found in verse 4, but let me explain first of all some of the context. Paul is describing his mission to Thessalonica and his work in general. He talks about the persecution that they suffered in those very early days, but he says in verse 3, he says, our exhortation was not of deceit or uncleanness or guile, but, verse 4, as we were allowed of God to be put in trust with the gospel, even so we speak. And that's my password for today. The gospel, says Paul, is a sacred trust, something that God gives to us, and it's not something that is deceitful. It's not a trick, it's not a secret, it doesn't have unholy motives. Okay? And when we speak, we're not trying to actually please men with what we say. We're seeking to please God, who tries the hearts of all men. It is God who knows the motives that we have deep within our hearts. And he says we didn't use any flattering words, and we didn't use a cloak of covetousness. In other words, there was nothing under our overgarments that was secret, that was a secret motive. He says we didn't seek glory from any man, even from you. And he says when we were at Thessalonica, we worked hard with a daily job every day. No doubt it was tent making. He says we worked hard at an ordinary job so that we wouldn't be burdensome to you. They didn't want their own converts in the faith to be their own supporters in the work. And he says we were gentle among you, like a nurse, like a wet nurse cherisheth her baby. We were like that with you. And so being affectionately desirous unto you, we were willing not only to impart to you the gospel, we were willing to give of our own selves. Now this is what gospel work is all about. And he says we were willing to give our own souls because you were dear unto us. And you remember, brethren, our labour and our travail, working night and day, so that we wouldn't have to be chargeable unto you. We preached unto you the gospel of God, and you are witnesses, and God also, how that we lived a holy life, how that we lived and acted justly, and how that we were unblameable. These are the ways in which the evangelist works. He works in a holy way, he works justly, he does what's right, and he works in a way that nobody can point the finger and say, look what you've done wrong. Now he says, we were very careful to live a holy and upright life. And he says in verse 11, as you know, we exhorted and comforted and charged every one of you as a father does his children. Now Paul would never take the word father. Christ is very clear, call no man father, he says. So he'd never take the word father, but he acts as a father towards his little babies. And he teaches them, verse 12, that they should walk worthy of God. Now they're not walking worthy of God in order to be saved, far from it. They're walking worthy of God because they are already saved. That is the point. He says, walk worthy of God, who has called you unto his kingdom and glory. You see, the Christian life is not all there is. There's the rapture to come, and beyond that there is the glory of the Messianic kingdom to participate in. And so therefore we are to walk worthy of God. So coming right back to my password, which is in verse 4, he says, as we were allowed of God to be put in trust with the gospel. The gospel is a sacred trust. It's something that we handle not because it's our own personal possession to use for our own personal benefit. We are trustees, we are stewards of the mysteries of God. And this is not something for us to tamper with, to change, to adapt. No. This is something given by God, and we are expected to keep this sacred trust unchanged. So what a great honor it is for God to give us a gospel, a good news, something which comes from Him, and something which we can use for His glory. Because when we preach the gospel, men and women respond to it and are saved. What a great honor that is. Well, God bless you. Look forward to speaking to you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.